Alrighty, thank you all for being here. And we're at a special live stream of the BBC, the Boardwalk Broadcasting Company. And we have with us here four of the leading candidates for the Free Kingdom of Illyria campaign, all vying for the position of the monarch. This was a stream that was actually put together on their initiative. So I want to thank you guys for choosing the BBC to host this for you. I also want to preface the debate by stating that some of the questions I'll be asking were put together not by myself, but actually by players from within the COE community. I've modified them a little bit, taken out some of the quotes and everything like that there's a little bit of drama in there, and I want us to kind of like pay attention more to the substance. So it'll be my goal to ask these questions in a way that challenges and pushes you, but in as neutral of a manner as possible. But I guess before we get to those, let's get caught up with each of you as candidates and find out how your campaigns are coming along. And we'll start in alphabetical order. You will each have up to 2 minutes. You don't have to use the full 2 minutes, but you'll each have up to 2 minutes to summarize your campaign and what's been going on and what you think your chances are, etc. We'll start off in alphabetical order. So Cheshire, if you'd like to lead away, please.
Hi, I'm Cheshire, and I am the candidate leading the Jindessa campaign. I'm trying to run this campaign for the little guy. I don't exactly have a whole lot of money, and I don't really have any sort of group backing me, really. I'm just trying to, achieve my dream. That's pretty much all I got to say for myself at this time.
All righty, thank you. John, how about yourself? What do you have to say for yourself, sir?
Hi, I'm John Warren. My campaign is for the Kingdom of Vitalis, and basically an economic-centered kingdom, focusing on economic growth, value exchange, and just building a sort of self-sustaining kingdom that doesn't have to rely too much on external sources. And so the campaign, it's been going really well, actually. I launched a promotion a short while ago, doubling people's EP for Kingdom tokens, and brought a lot of controversy, but I was really amazed at the support, so I'm excited.
Excellent stuff. Saley, you are next on the list, sir.
Thanks, Dee. So obviously I'm Saleh and I'm running the campaign for the Kingdom of Aravir. So since the last debate, I've gone live with the website. So if you want to check out my campaign thread, you can see a link to the website and get some more detail. The campaign's going pretty fun. I think the idea of a strong, independent and balanced kingdom is resonating with a lot of people. I mean, that's certainly what my token count suggests anyway. And I'm looking in the near future, to expand on some of those ideas I've spoken about. So I'd like to put some meat on the framework I've started to develop, which will give people a clearer idea of what I'm thinking. But it's also an opportunity for people to start talking with me, particularly the other candidates, about their viewpoints of a workable kingdom. So those commonalities are going to be important, and that feedback is going to be very important to shape my vision of that kingdom, because it's going to be our kingdom together, and so a lot of feedback is going to be required even at this early stage. So that's where I'm up to.
Awesome, thank you. And last but not least, let us hear from Violet.
Hi, my campaign is the Kingdom of Alesia. So far, the campaign has allowed for us to gather some of the most amazing members of the community as potential residents and supporters. We were also given the opportunity to expand horizons into new areas and get to know one another better, and including the other candidates. Overall, with this growth in community and the increased size increased size participation amongst us has allowed this campaign to grow and progress into what it is today. And that's truly like a really great thing to feel, all of that support and knowing that people want to actually come and live in our kingdom that we have created. And I want to make this kingdom so that it doesn't need to lean on others, and it's a place that empowers the players to play in the manner that they desire, a home that focuses on creating an environment that promotes community interaction. My campaign aims to create it all, and it starts here and now with the development of the community and our initial framework we have already made.
Excellent. Thank you, Violet. Alrighty. So before we proceed, I just want to, we'll be asking kind of like rounds of questions like we did in the previous debates, and then I'll also be giving you guys kind of like free time kind of like to ask questions of the other candidates and challenge them. But I want to make it clear those comments should stay within the spirit of the COE terms of use and code of conduct on the forums. At our discretion, either Noslim or myself will mute somebody if we believe their comments are kind of like crossing over what we admittedly think is a difficult gray line to judge during a live debate. Obviously disagree with somebody if you wish, challenge them, or even attack another candidate's position on something if you like, but try to keep personal attacks out of it and try to keep it civil. So I want to start off with my first question, and that one would be, there's been kind of like a lot of chat and talk about kind of like, some of the drama that people are perceiving that is going on. And I wanted to address that. And so I want to ask each of you, and it'll just be 60 seconds. It doesn't have to be a long reply. But who are you bumping heads with in the campaign and why? And if you're not, you just simply say no, get along great with everybody. John, we'll start with you this time, sir.
So I think I've bumped heads with about pretty much everyone with the EP promotion, which was to be expected. I mean, people put a lot of time and money into their own campaigns, and then when they saw something pop up that threatens that, and initially seeing that as some sort of underhanded move that definitely was going to cause some controversy. So definitely bumped heads with people. I don't think there were any like terrible rifts caused by the promotion, but I mean, I had a few conversations with people, and I think overall the community response was fantastic. People at first, saw the promotion and initially thought, "Oh, he's buying votes," and so then they'd shoot me messages and comment on my threads, and then after talking with them, a lot of the people who criticized me initially ended up sending me tokens, which was fantastic. But yeah, like we brought new people in. People that weren't all that interested in the race to begin with have decided to participate now, and they're getting interested in who the candidates are, what our policies are. I got asked a ton of questions over the course of that week, and I'm very optimistic for the future. Yeah.
Good answer. Good reply. All righty. Sele, you're next. Who are you bumping heads with, do you think?
Well, I mean, as John said, we had a little bit of a discussion about his EP scheme and, sort of fleshed that out. I mean, I met Mick Dude on Morbus's interview, mischaracterized and twisted some of the things which I'd actually said to Fellaine. But, I mean, we spent quite a while talking with each other in DM and sort of getting to know each other a bit better and sort of understanding each other's perspectives better. So I find that overall, the longer this campaign goes on, the more that we're actually able to get to know each other and start to look at how we are actually going to work with each other. So there's usually, I know several discussions amongst most of the candidates about, well, if I'm king, would you be willing to take on this sort of job type thing? And I mean, that goes on. It's actually good to see those candidates who actually do it, because it's very forward looking.
Excellent. That's good to know. Violet, how about yourself? Who do you perceive that you're bumping heads with?
I think that everyone has pretty much bumped heads with everybody at this point. Sorry, my throat's really sore. And I think it's because of all the different stances between everybody, the diversity in everyone's different campaigns and the different approaches that we all take. Like, I feel like that is the main factor between us all bumping heads and stuff sometimes. Cheshire kind of wants to like push through and get her word out there, whereas like the some of us, like Niz, she really is trying to be a strong figurehead, but you can see the shy personality to her, and sometimes how they push out their ideas can come off different ways. And I feel like some of the ways that I push off my ideas is a little bumping for people, but in the end I feel like we're all going to work really, really well together to make this community into something that will actually turn into something really good, especially from the diversity of all of our different campaigns and our different ideas and how we actually want to make this work. So I feel like, yeah, we bump heads now, but that's what campaigns do. That's how things are ran. But at the end of the day, we're all going to be working together to make this work as a whole.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And Cheshire, who are you bumping heads with?
Okay, this is going to be a fun one here. So, yeah, I would say pretty much everyone in this debate tonight. I can't really say that I've gotten into anything with the other candidates. Yep, John's whole EP scheme there. It's smart. I can't really argue against the effectiveness of it. But yeah, it just doesn't sit well with me. It leaves kind of a bad taste in my mouth, so to speak. But yeah, it was smart. Then with Sealy, this was actually only today. I think today was the first we've ever really spoken at any sort of length. And yeah, you kind of saw me as an aggressor. I am an aggressor. You handled yourself really well earlier. I kind of got a really immediate feeling of respect for you right from the get-go. Then there's Violet. we didn't get off at a good start with each other. Pretty much right from the moment I really jumped into the campaign, we kind of got off on the wrong foot. But yeah, I can't say that I've had any trouble with the other candidates, but I'm hoping maybe that'll change soon, because who doesn't love the drama?
All righty. So what we're going to do now is we are going to have our first round of open questions where you can actually each get 30 seconds to ask one of the other candidates a question, and that candidate will have 60 seconds to reply. So, Sele, why don't we start off with you? Who would you like to ask a question of, and what is the question?
Certainly. So mine's going to be for Cheshire, and my question is going to be relatively simple. This is a campaign for a very large kingdom. It's going to involve a lot of complex work, particularly in administrative, bureaucratic, diplomatic, and financial realms, as well as not just the players themselves, which are going to be fun to handle. So where's your experience and your demonstrated success in these sorts of environments that actually supports and underpins your campaign?
I think you just asked a really good question. I I served in the Navy. I was an electronic warfare operator, and the military is always a constant political battleground. There's everyone's vying for position with one another, especially in the intelligence field. We're a small field, but we are extremely competitive with one another. I had to lead teams while in the Navy on various missions as an electronic warfare operator, as well as organized briefs, which I actually held briefs for admirals, by the way. That was fun. Then I've also started up a Star Citizen organization, a pirate organization, the Court of Hearts. I'm actually somewhat well known over there, though I haven't been active recently, as the Pirate Queen of Star Citizen, Cheshire the Pirate Queen. Alrighty, and yeah, I've been working in guilds as an officer and even as a leader on
Alrighty.
occasion.
We will have to cut you off since we are a little bit over time there, but
All right.
thank you for that, Cheshire. Let's see. Violet, you're next in line. Who do you want to ask a question of, and what is your question?
Does it matter if they already went?
No?
Okay, Cheshire, I'm gonna ask you a question. Your campaign and stuff, you announced it in October, but you did not start playing a role until like about a week ago. Is there like any main reasons for the big delay?
Yes, actually. I was dealing with some health issues over the past couple months. I have a liver disease and some heart troubles right now, and it kind of filled up my schedule with all the doctor visits. So I wasn't really in the mood either to engage socially during that time. I got some bad news from the VA that the Navy knew that my heart would get messed up. So yeah, I was a little angry to be dealing with people at that time.
I think that's a legitimate response there. Cheshire, your turn to ask a question of somebody.
Ooh boy. Okay. I think I'm gonna ask one of John actually. John, you're doing the whole buying votes EP thing. Do you think that will at all impact really the loyalty of the kingdom in the long run? I mean, you're buying votes from people who aren't even playing, not even invested in our server, and like, how do you like? Do you actually care about the people actually in the kingdom itself? Do you value their investment? That's what I kind of want to know.
Yeah, great question. So yes, definitely. And while the promotion was open to anyone from any server, right? I found the vast majority of the support came from within the NA East server. People who had already like given up on the race, assumed it was set in stone. People who weren't decided yet, and really weren't too interested in the goings on. They they saw my post and they got interested, either because they didn't like it or because they did, and so then they sent me messages and we talked, and a lot of them I usually talked quite a bit over policy with people before they ever sent me tokens. So I do think that a lot of this support is genuine and that they're going to stay in the kingdom. And when it comes down to it, this contest is not an election. It's a crowdfunding campaign. Each campaign is crowdfunding their way to the monarchy. Either with they're putting in their own funds and they're gathering support from other people, and these people are going to be a fraction of our community at launch, but they're the active core community right now. So they're definitely important. They're very important. So yeah, they're integral, and having their support is is very important to me, and that's why I've reached out to the community, and I've been talking to people.
We're going to have to cut you off there, John, as we're over time, I'm afraid. However, it is your turn to ask a question of somebody else.
Oh man, trying to figure out who I should have. Violet, just to clarify, so over the course of the EP promotion, it was clear some people really didn't like it, and yeah, I know you were definitely one of them. Do you feel that will impede relations after the election at all, or do you think we'll still be able to cooperate fully after the election?
Well, first of all, no. Like, how do I explain this? I said that I strongly disagreed with how you did your EP event. I love your ideas about your campaign. I totally think that we could totally work after this. I just didn't agree with how you went about your EP campaign. There's a lot of ways that it could be viewed as pros and cons, but I feel like the cons to me outweighed the pros, and I didn't agree with it at all. But I do like your campaign. I do like your ideas. I do like your economic value in this. I do think that we can work together. I have no personal qualms against you at all. I just didn't agree with how you went about the EP thing.
Fair enough.
Alrighty. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is ask each of you a question in turn. And let's see, we'll start with Cheshire. For you, the community tends to look upon you as a fringe candidate. Probably, again, because of how you explained, you haven't come into the race, but just recently in a visible manner in the last week or so. The top candidates have already secured, or potentially have secured a large number of tokens already. And that you've only joined the campaign to stir up drama and discredit other campaigns. How would you react to that?
Well, first off, I don't think they're taking me seriously enough. I'm competing not to cause drama. That's yes, I am using a shock tactics. I'm trying to get myself caught up, but I am not here to start drama, make a whole huge problem between us, because we do have to work together after this is all said and through. I am going to fight as hard as I can, give this everything I got to win, to achieve something that, quite frankly, I shouldn't be able to achieve. You know what? I shouldn't, but I'm trying, and I just think it would be an amazing story if an underdog like me managed to win, or if oh man, isn't that what Illyria is about? It's about the stories. That's what this is all about. It's about making miracles and amazing shit happen.
Alrighty, thank you. John, you've already addressed actually quite a bit of the question that I'm about to ask you here, because obviously a lot of the buzz goes around about your campaign and the double EP, etc. But this will be an opportunity maybe for you to deep dive into it a little bit more. As you know, the campaign has created controversy, and those who plan to play in the Free Kingdom, many of them are concerned that your votes have been bought, and they're therefore kind of like neutral people. You don't actually have kind of like solid backers or a solid community behind you. They see these people as basically primarily being motivated by profit, and thus without a vested interest in the Free Kingdom's success. Ultimately, the citizens regard you as a candidate with an increased amount of enemies and without enough real supporters. Explain how this will not be the case to us, sir.
So initially, I expected that the majority of the support I got from the EP promotion would be people outside of the kingdom or people not directly invested in the kingdom. I was really surprised to find out that that wasn't the case. I got very little foreign support. I would say the vast majority was people who were already in the NA, who were already planning to be on NA East, and just needed some convincing. And so they wanted to talk about my policies. A lot of them were very critical at first, and I was just amazed at the results. I think a lot of people view it differently than view the contest differently than I do. It's not an election the way it's structured. It's made so that the campaign that receives the most tokens wins, and so that means the campaign that gets the most investment wins. And that investment can come from the community, it can come from the candidate, it can come from their friends, but it's the total investment in Chronicles of Illyria that is counting towards the campaigns. And I think this promotion inspired people to invest more into the race, to put their money where their mouth is, and actually, like, a lot of them wanted ideas like mine in the race, but they didn't think anybody could win. And so when they saw somebody who had a shot, they threw tokens behind me, and that was really inspiring.
Excellent, thank you. Sele, the question somebody posted for you was, your campaign post exemplifies that you will have a more centralized government. It is conveyed from your own words that you will have a dictatorial reign until the kingdom changes over time. Voters and pundits alike are alarmed that you will rule as an absolute monarch and then not hand the reins over, or loosen your dictatorship and stranglehold on the kingdom. They think you'll never delegate or diffuse your power like you say. There are others, obviously, in a different camp. They're cynical that you'll even be able to enforce your authority or manage all of the many duties that you have noted. Are you too power hungry?
Well, the short answer is no, I'm not. I mean, if anybody thinks for 1 second that I come online to get my rocks off on power, they obviously have absolutely no idea what it is I actually do in the real world. Now, the question about dictatorial reign. One of the things to remember is I'm proposing a treatise here which will set up the boundaries of the kingdom. So the powers that the monarch have, the powers that the nobility have, and the privileges and the rights of everybody else. So that, to me, is a framework which is immutable without everybody else's agreement. So if I was really looking for absolute power and things like that, I wouldn't be trying to limit the expectations of what the monarch can do through a document like the treatise. Because that would make no sense as I'm trying to run for king. And the other argument that, it's my reaction to trying to contain the powers of a king if I don't get the top spot. Well, kind of is. It's more about balancing expectations, understanding that this is a community player base. Talking about the dictatorial reign aspect is that as organizations form, they tend to need a more hands-on directive approach. And as the organization matures, people get more comfortable in their roles, and they understand where each other's responsibilities lie, then you can start to sort of release the reins a bit more and let the engine itself run. And I have a demonstrated experience in that over in the Empire. I don't like making all the decisions. I love to delegate. If you look at anyone familiar with von Hammerstein's model of leadership, then I fit squarely in the general square. So I'm not here for the power. I'm just here to build something cool, and hopefully I can walk away from it.
Excellent, thank you. And Violet, for you we have the question that Caspian has stated that PvP in CoE will be waged in many ways, and the economy is one of the main ones. Given the vast scale and complexity of the economy within a kingdom, to protect your dukes and kingdom, do you intend to introduce a commodity index currency or a currency based upon coins and notes whose value is backed by the monarchy?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? My dog was going nuts.
Oh, not a problem. The question again. Caspian has stated that PvP in CoE will be waged in many ways, and the economy is one of the main ones. Given the vast scale and complexity of the economy within a kingdom, to protect your dukes and kingdom, and actually the economy of it, do you intend to introduce a commodity indexed currency or a currency of coins and notes, etc., whose value is backed by the monarchy?
We're open to both the options. Sometimes people can't afford to go about paying with coin, and you can't force them to just be like, you have to do this, you have to do that. And we don't know which would be the most efficient yet due to the lack of mechanics. It'll be really hard to tell which one would work in that situation over the other. And if we are able to accommodate both or have it or in certain situations at, like, if a border, let's say, or a border is completely just, they need stuff, they need this, they need that. Like, I'm not going to say, okay, well, I need this, I need coins, I need to have it flat. Like, you can't force people into doing something they cannot physically do. And I want to be able to make it so that they are able to efficiently play without having them be completely wiped out within reason. And with the lack of tribes, the lack of biomes, the lack of mechanics, I don't know if I can efficiently answer that question at this time.
Alrighty, very fair enough. Let's see. We're going to do another round of where you can ask each other questions based upon what you've heard already, or based upon something else that might be niggling you about one of the other candidates, or you might just have something of curiosity about their campaign. So let's see. John, let's start with you this time.
So Cheshire, uh, I you've said a lot about the community you want to build and the overall vision for your kingdom. Should you become monarch, but have you fleshed out any of your governmental or economic policies yet?
Yes, actually, I've been hanging out in the Kipik Discord, and we've actually talked a lot about economic policies in the past, and I've kind of already had this in my pocket. So, yeah, when it comes to things like overhunting, because I know a lot of people want to go hunting. My girlfriend wants to breed dogs, and they're going to need meat. So for things like overhunting, I want to be able to preserve species. I want to have protections for those animals. I want to be able to preserve the beauty of Illyria and everything found in it. Um, and as for my economic policies, I admit I am not an economic expert personally. I would have to probably rely on you for that if you were to be my Duke. I admit that 100%. You have my respect there.
Thank you, Cheshire. Sele, your turn to ask somebody a question.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Violet a question here. We had a little bit of a tete-a-tete in my Discord the other day when I made some criticisms of some of the things that Violet's supporters were saying. So I'd like to follow that up and ask Violet, do you feel that as the leader of the campaign that you should hold some responsibility for what your supporters are doing? And if so, what do you think you can actually do to try and keep this in a nice tone? And that's mostly based on our supporters are definitely going to be more vocal about things than the candidates themselves are.
Well, everyone's supporters are being extremely toxic as of right now, and they're people too. I can't just put a leash on them and say like, hey, you're not allowed to go and voice your own opinion in the community. Like, I agree that, yeah, I should take a little bit of responsibility, but there's nothing that I can do to be like, you can't do this, you can't say that, you can't go there, you can't. Like, I've talked to people before, and I have spoken to a couple people who seemed a little bit toxic, not towards anyone, but toxic just in general in the community, and that's all that I can do. I can't go into their Discord and be like, or like their account and close them off and make it so they can't do these things. They have a voice. Like, I can't sit here and tell them they can't do this. I have spoken and I have said, hey, can you please tone it down a little bit? Like, this isn't something that should be talked about here. I'd like it if you didn't talk about that. And yeah, they have been very, very compliant and very nice about these things and welcoming to me actually saying this stuff. But I can't, at the end of the day, like, they're people, they're going to say what they want to say. They have opinions. I can't force them not to talk.
Alrighty. And Violet, it's actually your turn to ask a question.
Oh, okay. John, your initial incentive program, you kind of scrapped that. Can you elaborate as to your reasoning behind that move?
Yes. So the initial incentive program was I wanted to offer value to supporters in some way, and that seemed to be that was my first concept. That was the first opportunity, and I thought, well, I'll reward them in game because there doesn't seem to be a way that I can reward them efficiently out of game. And it was actually one of my supporters that suggested the EP promotion initially, and then we took that initial suggestion, refined it, and created the promotion that I launched, which it worked perfectly because it fit right in with my campaign vision. Rewarding value. If people give you value, then you reward them back with value, and make sure that everyone, any policy is offering benefit to everyone involved. And so this was sort of a trial run for the type of policies that I want to implement in Vitalis.
Thank you, John. And Cheshire, your turn to ask a question. I seem to be having audio problems. Can anybody hear me?
Sorry, I got it. Sorry about that. So Seely, I'm gonna ask this one for you. You asked me about my experience running organizations like this. What experience do you have exactly with running a kingdom? I mean, we know this isn't going to be just like another guild in any other game. It's a much grander simulation than that. And I'm curious what maybe real world experience you might have leading.
Certainly, I'll try and shy away too much from real world stuff, other than to say I'm an executive working for the government. By the age of 24, I was running 3 different businesses with dozens and dozens of staff. So I mean, it's a lengthy experience for me in learning leadership and management of things. Some of the applicable skills, the ability to write well and explain ideas and listen to people and negotiate, definitely come from those real world experiences that I've had where I've been the big boss. There was no one above me to catch my work. I've just had to make those catastrophic mistakes, I'll admit, throughout my youth when I was thrust into these positions. But I've learned a lot and I've experienced a lot from those mistakes. The sort of experience that I am bringing along have been, from leading literally hundreds of people in the real world through to leading hundreds of people in the gaming world with complex kingdoms to actually run. Nothing as big as what COE is proposing. Let me be clear on that. I think that's a scope beyond anyone's real experience, unless you've been, head of Walmart or something. But the reality is these transferable skills are going to be very important. And they're things like ability to write well, ability to negotiate, an understanding of administration, how to sort of develop and create a bureaucracy, but also then thin that back out as an organization, which the kingdom is, matures and changes as it goes through its life cycle. So I think that's really important, that this is a moving feast for the kingdom. It's not just we set this up and then it's static. It's a really big and long evolution, and I have a lot of skills in that area and experience, and I'm going to bring along.
Great, thank you. And I have actually lost track. Who still hasn't asked a question? I know we just did Cheshire, so I think we've done the full round of 4, correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think the audio output there threw me off a little bit. All right, so here's a question for each of you. It's the same question. It doesn't take long to answer. If you can keep your answers to 60 seconds or less. But during the first 6 months of the game, which one of the following 3 do you feel is the most important to focus on? Obviously, it won't be to the exclusion of the others, but do you think it's going to be more important for you to focus on economy, research, or the military? And Cheshire, let's start with you on this one. Oh, and why, obviously.
All right. Can you ask that one more time?
Yeah. During the first 6 months of the game, which one of the following 3 do you feel is the most important to focus on, and why? And again, it's not to the exclusion of the other 2, but which one do you think is the most important? Economy, research, or military, and why?
At the beginning of the game, I would probably say the military, not to invade, not to even defend from huge invaders, because I don't think anyone would be able to organize that right out the gate. But to really help defend the land from raiders, just small-time raiders, just to basically get things kind of stable as quick as possible, so then we can tackle the larger issues. I'm not talking a huge military campaign. I'm just talking about a few, maybe days or even a week, couple weeks of just focusing on making sure that our people and their investments are safe, so not everyone's running around like a chicken with their head cut off. So then we can start tackling economic and other issues.
Great, thank you. John, how about yourself? Economy, research, or military, and why?
I'd also agree, military. I mean, I want to have a thriving economy, but you can't sustain a great economy if you can't protect your stuff. Raiders, NPC forces, we have no idea what's in store, and the initial chaos, we're going to need to have the manpower to protect the citizens and make sure that we can secure our borders before we do any sort of economic growth. And then as soon as we finish that, right into productivity, incentivizing growth and building the kingdom from there.
Thank you. Sele, how about yourself? Economy, research, or military, and why?
Well, I think firstly that it's going to depend on the situation we find ourselves in. So the biome and the location in comparison to other kingdoms. So if we're only sharing one land border with one other kingdom as opposed to sharing three land borders with three other kingdoms, then that's going to change our footing a lot. So if we can concentrate our military sensibly over particular areas with confidence, then we don't need to invest a whole great amount into the military to begin with. Assuming we have one land border with one kingdom, then economy is going to be the name of the game. We're going to need an economy to support a big military in the first place, as well as all the other aspects of the kingdom. So I feel like resorting to the military without the context is a bit of a dangerous move to make because, as Star Trek told us recently, context is for kings.
Thank you. And Violet, which one do you feel is the most important out of those? Economy, research, or military?
For me, kind of wish I went before Saleh because now it's gonna sound like I'm just copying him. For me, economy and military stand a really close tie because we don't know what biome we're gonna have, we don't know what tribe we have. The biome and the tribe are really going to play a huge factor in our natural defenses. So it could go both ways. It could go either we do need that military to be able to defend ourselves because we are seen right now as the weakest link on the server. And I feel like that's going to prove for quite a few people trying to push at us or try to make that fall. And I feel that we need the economy because we need to be able to fund these things. We need to be able to get them what they need. We need to be able to get us what we need. And in order to do that, we need a strong economy so that we can support future military and research and being able to get all these things together. So I feel like it's kind of neck and neck with them, especially when it revolves around the mechanics of the biome and the tribe.
Alrighty, thank you. And basically, as a piggyback question on this, and Violet, we'll let you go first so that you're not going behind Saleh on this one. After those 6 months are done, would you shift that focus at all? Again, you're looking at military, economy, research, but now we'll expand it to also include border control, finding the lost tribes, and overall approval of the citizens in your kingdom. Which of those, if you had to pick one to focus on? Again, not that that's the exclusive thing that you'd be doing, but which of those would you now consider to be the most important 6 months into the game?
If I could add one into there, I would add community because community is something that's going to need a lot of work and a lot of structure, and being able to work together with everyone and be productive with the economy, it's really going to help that, but it's going to be very situational based as well, as we don't know tribes, we don't know really much a whole lot of anything. But I would probably say if I had to, I would go more into the education research area so that we can help more to boost into our economy and our military. Knowledge is something that's going to be held high in a game, especially like this, and everybody's going to need to, whether it be blueprints for things, medicine, cures, it's going to help the economy as well. So I feel like down from all those, that might be my next step.
Alrighty, thank you. Cheshire, 6 months in, once you've developed your military, you're going to stay focused on the military, or you're going to look more on economy, research, border control, finding the lost tribes, or overall approval from the citizens, which you could translate, as Violet had said, into looking after the community and building the community.
Yeah, in my case, I would be looking at the issues that the people are facing. Once I've stabilized things, I mean, that's what I'm running for, is not just, for my story to be great, but for the community stories all to be great. And I would try and see what their needs are. next. Maybe they'll even, from their feedback, we'll see that, hey, maybe we should actually switch gears and go for the economy or research or what have you. But I do, they're the reason I'm running. So I do believe that I should really get down in the dirt and know what my people need and want.
Thank you. John, what would your take on that be?
So I definitely want to pursue an economic focus as soon as we stabilize militarily. As soon as our borders are secure and we can defend what we've got, then productivity, primary focus. And a big part of that is creating an environment where new players who aren't familiar with Illyria and spawn right into the game, creating an environment where we can help integrate them into the community, creating pathways for them to learn various skills and set up their own shops and learn their own trades. And I think that's going to be very, very important to the growth of the kingdom.
Nice, thank you. Sele, how about your take on the question?
Once again, it's going to depend on that context that we find ourselves within. So, I mean, military economy, they're going to be jostling for first and second cab, depending on that. But for the rest, I pretty much take sort of like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs view of this. We're going to need things like border control to support that military and that particularly the economic development. After that's going to be kingdom support. So, people need to be involved in the kingdom to feel like they belong to it, to feel like they have some sort of say in the kingdom. It may not be one voice, one vote type approach, but we do need to be flexible and responsive to the general population of the community. After that's going to be research. We do need to improve our technology and those sorts of things. Searching for the lost tribes is going to be last. I know that, Vonair, for instance, is very targeted in searching for the lost tribes. So I'm more than happy to buy their map afterwards to tell me where it is.
Awesome, thank you. All righty. So what we will do now then, let's have another round of questions where you can each ask a question of the other. And Sele, let's start with you first this time.
I guess I'd better ask a question of John here. And it's going to be about the sort of approach that he's going to take to try and hold the kingdom together. So what is your actual platform for creating a kingdom and actually managing it? So by that I mean structures, organizations, and big ticket sort of laws, that sort of thing. What are you going to propose there?
So I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, but essentially I'm going to set up a structure to allow the nobility to have access to proposing laws, making sure we get policies in place that aid in local growth. And so that means, we're going to have the ducal council setting the, voting on the overarching laws, and with a primary focus to protect the citizens and protect the kingdom and create an environment where every citizen has an opportunity to exercise their trade, whether they be or whether they're a soldier or a craftsman or a scribe, whatever their particular skill might be. We want to have an opportunity for them to exercise that in the kingdom. So setting a framework that allows great freedom to operate within the kingdom, tons of opportunity, but also protects those basic rights to property and their lives, make sure that the citizens are secure.
Thank you. Violet, what would your question be, and to who do you want to address it to?
Sorry, I just had a sneeze attack. how about I'll ask a question to Chesh. Your campaign seems to be coming off like kind of aggressive, I guess you could say, because you're really calling people out, kind of. And I feel like we could work really well together. I want to know how you kind of have that planned to work with everybody.
Yeah, I am being aggressive. In fact, earlier today, someone compared me to Donald Trump. I I have to be aggressive. I have to be able to catch up. I don't intend any harm by it. I do not want this to carry past the election, the campaign, or the fundraiser, whatever you want to call it. But I do want to. I need to win. So I gotta fight, and as I've mentioned before, I'm really like in tune with the community. I mean, I may be just kind of a lurker right now, but I know what they're thinking, and they wanted to see a fight. They wanted to see this whole campaign heat up, and I'm just giving them what they want. It's actually been pretty fun so far.
Excellent, thank you. And John, your question, sir.
I'd actually like to ask Sele a question. Do you think that having a more rigid structure for the kingdom will interfere with building that community of opportunity and cooperation? Do you think it'll limit aspects of the citizens' gameplay?
Overall, not really, no. I mean, the only people that it's really going to restrict is going to be the nobility. And that's just to make sure that there is some consistency across the kingdom and that we can actually manage the expectations of the low level players. So there is that commonality across all of the duchies. So they know if they go from one duchy to this other duchy here, that while there may be some variations of a theme, there will be local laws and there will be different themes and role plays. You could end up in the madhouse of the Church of Faerun. That there is still going to be that sort of foundational aspect of these sets of things over here are what's going to be common. They're effectively not going to change from duchy to duchy. I think that gives people confidence, and particularly consumer confidence, to actually invest inside businesses and things like that if they can actually predict the future much better. And I think that's what that sort of bureaucracy that I'm talking about, that overarching framework, actually provides. And it also helps just the kingdom overall in the evolution of itself as an organisation.
Great, thank you. That brings us to the end of that round of particular questions. And so now I have another general question, same question for each of you. And that is basically we're halfway through the campaign, or for all intents and purposes, just a few days away from feel that your campaign is going so far. How are you going to change it for the coming month that you have left? And do you feel that there's still a lot of individuals out there that you can kind of like bring into your particular campaign and support you? Or do you feel that this next month is all about closing deals with deep pocket groups and individuals? And Cheshire, let's start with you on this one.
Can I get that one more time? I'm sorry. That one was a bit wordy.
Not a problem. Basically, we're halfway through the campaign. And do you feel that there are still individuals, enough individuals to be able to kind of like appeal to? Do you feel that you're going to change your campaign in the next month? Or do you feel that it's now boiled down to kind of like almost like making backroom deals with influential groups and individuals who might have deep pockets?
No, actually, when it comes to, the buying of tokens, I kind of view it, uh, oddly enough, similarly to John here, that it's a lot like a Kickstarter or a fundraiser. And when is there a huge boom of donations? Usually right before, the Kickstarter ends. There's usually a nice big boom. So I think there's a lot of people out there that are still holding on to their money, waiting for the last minute before they pick their candidate. I don't think the score is set yet. I don't think that just because I'm number 8 on Immaculate Deception's poll that I can't be, number 1 in the token count within just a few weeks. Yeah, I mean, we still got a long ways to go. This ends in December, right? We still got plenty of time. The whole campaign can flip on its head before then. This is going to be a fun race.
Alrighty, John, your take on it.
So it's been fantastic so far. It's been incredible. I had a late start, and the EP promotion definitely got my name out there and increased publicity. But that's just step one. We've still got a whole month left, and I plan to make full use of it. Every day I'm meeting more people who don't even know who the candidates are for the Free Kingdom. So there are people out there there are a lot of them who haven't voted yet, but who are interested in doing so. So there's definitely a lot of those people, and I think that there will be a lot of people waiting till the end so that they can more fully see the field of candidates. And that's, I mean, I think the race has already changed significantly in this month. I have no idea how it'll turn out with those people at the very end, but I'm excited and optimistic, and I can't wait to get there.
Indeed. Sele, your take on the question, sir.
I'm going to echo a bit of what John has just said there, that we're only halfway through this campaign and it's already dramatically changed in both content and tone. So that's going to be very interesting to watch as it unfolds, and the candidates keep pushing each other to lift the bar and to explain more about their ideas and their particular thought processes and how they're actually going to do things. So that's only going to get more exciting. For me and my campaign in particular, we're looking at trying to release the treatise as soon as I can sort of get enough meat on it that people will actually have something to provide feedback on. As I've said to the other candidates, it's much easier for people to rip apart a straw man than it is to stare at a blank board and come up with ideas. So that's sort of my approach for that. And I think at the end of the day, we all understand that, we're all going to be working together in this kingdom. So it's worthwhile trying to nut out those commonalities between everybody, and also identifying where we can't agree, and how we might actually sort of try and overcome those within the kingdom itself. I'm looking forward to more and more support. I'm certainly trying to tap more bases and get more tokens into me. I mean, the support has been phenomenal and very humbling, and I hope that continues into the future, and I'm sure it will.
Excellent. Violet, how about you?
I'm trying less to think of it as a start and end date of a campaign, because this late in the game, kind of a situation of where if you are going to get Monarch, or if you are going to get a duchy, and if you need to push more or if you need to push less, or like in those kind of situations. But I'm trying to look at it as not only that we are going to have to get things out there, but I don't want to rework my campaign. I want to add more to it. Like, we're in the process of making a whole new website that's going to have a lot of information on it, a lot of different types of things for it. And I'm not looking for just creating a community from this campaign. This is going to last until long past even land selection that people are going to be joining us and joining in and making the community bigger. We're wanting to extend more and have more events. We're already having lots of people in our voice chats and our gaming with each other as a community now. We're having people constantly joining every day. And I feel like that growth and stuff is what is making the campaign work and making it shine and show that this is what people want and what people don't want by talking to them, by figuring out from them themselves. I love that the other candidates have their own critiques about it and about each other's campaigns and about my campaign and each other. But in the end, it's the community, what the community looks at, what the community wants, the community doesn't want. And ultimately, they're going to be our community. And I want to be able to emphasize that and be able to bring that into light. So instead of changing my campaign and trying to make it to fit everyone else's, I feel like towards the end of the contest, we're going to have to more work together and see if we can make the kingdom into something that can work together. But right now, it's ultimately about community building, getting people involved, getting people looking at the different campaigns and getting them a home for them to play when the game ultimately comes out.
Wonderful, thank you. Alrighty, that brings us basically to the end of our questions and everything. So I would like to offer each of you the opportunity of up to 2 minutes to kind of like do a little wrap up, do a little recap, maybe make a comment about what some of the other candidates have said about you, or say something about them, or focus on your campaign and why people should still be buying kingdom tokens for you and why you should be the monarch of the free kingdom of Illyria. We'll start off with our original order. Cheshire, how about you going first, sir?
All right. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting campaign. I mean, me and John only really kicked things off in the past week too. I don't think John really. Didn't your promotion drop like what, a couple days before I jumped in? So yeah, there's still time for us backrunners to catch up. Kick some ass, have a little fun, and as for going forward after the election, when I win, have my nice pretty crown. I look forward to working with everyone and seeing what our strengths combined could get accomplish. With, again, not to praise John too much, but he's got the whole math economy skills going on. He's got that. I don't. I think he'd be a great advisor for that. But not to praise John too much, at the same time, I wonder how his economic focus would work if he were to end up with the Weird, who are kind of not so great with the economy, last I checked.
All righty. And John, your wrap up, sir.
Well, I just want to say it's been a fantastic campaign. I'm very excited to work with the other candidates, and I'd love to go into talking about the Weird, but I don't think we have the time. But I'd just like to say thank you to everyone who participated in the promotion. The generosity, the advice, and all the support was just absolutely amazing. And I'm very excited to work with everybody when we do get in game and start, and even after the election, building this community, building the kingdom that we want, a kingdom that helps everyone benefit and prosper. Thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. Sele, your wrap up, sir.
Thank you. Firstly, thanks to all the other candidates that are here at the debate. These are always great fun, as well as the commenters that are going on the side there. I just want to iterate that I believe that I'm a very strong candidate for the king here. I am presenting a campaign platform which is articulate, and people were making fun of the the length that I talk. And I find it very important in order to explain not just what the answer is, but also how I came to that answer. So what are my thought processes going on in there? So that way people can really get to understand how I'm going to behave as a monarch. And if I'm not the monarch, then how I'm also going to behave as a duke within the kingdom. I'm going to bring a lot of skills and experience, which I've talked about before, and I just want to reiterate those that these are some fairly rare skill sets that quite often don't get translated, particularly if you've been managing a guild in a theme park MMO. You don't necessarily have those sorts of bureaucratic skills that you're going to bring across, the diplomatic touch, the ability to negotiate and understand economics, and those sorts of things. And that's something that I am bringing across. Those are translatable skills, and I strongly encourage everybody out there to look for those skills in your candidates that you're going to give them your hard-earned money to. Lastly, I just want to say, if you are interested in what I'm talking about here, if you think I'm going to be a strong candidate, then please give me your tokens, because that's the only way this competition is actually going to win. If you have questions for me, by all means, come talk to me and ask me. You may get a long-winded answer, but you're going to get an answer, and it's going to be an answer that tells you how I think. Lastly, I would just like to offer a job to Cheshire. Out of all of the candidates, I think Cheshire is going to be the most suited to actually be my anger translator, and I'd like to offer that job to you right now, Cheshire. Talk to me afterwards if you're interested. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Sally. And last but not least, Violet, your wrap-up.
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you guys for hosting this. It was a very difficult process to get this all in the works, I think. And I wanted to thank all the viewers for coming and stopping by, showing your guys' support for the different candidates that are here today. I also wanted to thank the community as well for just generally everything that they've done with the poll, the analysis, the different things that have been introduced. And I really wanted to get everyone to kind of thank Dee for all of this, for hosting it and making this work. And there's going to be another debate tomorrow, so don't forget about that. I also wanted to let everyone know that, yes, I have a website in works, and we're going to be releasing it quite soon here. I want to make sure that everyone is excited for that. And if anyone likes anything that I had to say today, or wants to get into contact with me, has any questions or whatever, my Discord is very openly on my forum post. Just click the Discord leaf and you can come on in and chat. For the other candidates, you guys are always welcome as well. I've stated from the beginning that I want to work with everybody. I want to make this kingdom work. So let's see if we can do that. Let's make sure that we can do that, because the community needs it.
Great. Thank you, Violet. And yes, as mentioned, there will be another live debate tomorrow. It'll be with 4 other leading candidates, not the same candidates that we have today. Not that we obviously don't appreciate the 4 that are here. Trying to give everybody at least somewhat of an equal opportunity. We'll be hosting that a little bit earlier. It'll probably be at about 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. Eastern time. And I will post. I want to carry on the chat here to go to the COE official forums. We can voice chat in the tavern there. Keep up to date with what's happening with the Free Kingdom campaign in the official COE Discord Free Kingdom channel. And we look forward to seeing all of you soon. Thank you all for coming and watching and participating.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.